The village of Grimwood lay silent beneath the full moon, a silver haze spilling across cobblestone streets and thatched roofs. Shadows lengthened unnaturally, and the wind carried whispers that seemed almost human. Villagers shuttered their windows, crossing themselves as they muttered warnings, "The curse stirs tonight." Elias walked alone along the outskirts, a simple man with a quiet life, yet even he could feel the pulse of unease thrumming in the air. His bones ached as though they were being pulled from the inside, his senses sharpening beyond comprehension. He froze at the sound of a low growl emanating from the forest nearby.
Not now. Please, not now.
The ground beneath him seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. Shadows elongated and danced unnaturally as he stepped closer to the forest, drawn by a force he could neither resist nor understand. His reflection in the water of a small creek caught him by surprise. The man staring back was not entirely human. His eyes glowed amber, fangs gleamed like moonlit steel, and ears elongated as fur sprouted along his jawline. Pain seared through his body as bones cracked and reshaped themselves in an agonizing rhythm. He stumbled, clawing at the earth, and then, with a roar that seemed to tear itself from the very air, he ran. The hunter became the hunted, fleeing into the forest as primal instincts took over. The forest was alive with movement he had never noticed before. Every rustle of leaves, every snapping twig screamed at him. He could hear the distant hoot of an owl, the scurry of small creatures, even the heartbeat of a rabbit hopping across the forest floor. Hunger clawed at him, gnawing as his senses sharpened further. Elias caught sight of a deer, its graceful form frozen in terror. He paused, fighting against the urge to pounce. This was new. He could smell its fear, taste its scent in the air. The primal part of him growled, demanding release, but the human part hesitated. A twig snapped behind him. Dogs, villagers. The thought brought a flash of panic. He moved silently, almost gliding, feeling every muscle and sinew surge with strength. The forest, once familiar, was now alien, every shadow hiding a potential threat or prey. Moonlight bathed the forest in an eerie glow, highlighting tracks in the dirt, his own. He realized that others were following, and the realization chilled him, even as the beast inside roared for dominance. From behind a dense cluster of trees, he heard voices, low, urgent, calling his name.
Villagers? No. One voice stood out, calm but commanding. Elias, you don't have to do this.
He emerged into a small clearing, heart hammering, claws digging into the soft earth. A man stood there, bow in hand, eyes sharp and calculating. A hunter, clearly experienced, had tracked him. Elias froze, instinct warring with reason. The wolf inside him surged forward with unrestrained power. He lunged, but instinct gave way to hesitation at the sight of the human. The momentary restraint saved him from revealing the full terror of the beast and earned him only a cautious glance from the hunter. Elias fled deeper into the forest, shadows twisting as though alive. His senses told him he was stronger, faster, sharper, but every choice to resist or strike weighed heavily on his mind. The first night of the full moon had only just begun, and the forest held endless terrors yet unseen. Elias ran blindly through the forest, every step pounding against the earth like thunder. His senses were razor-sharp now. He could smell the damp moss, hear the tiniest scurrying of rodents, and even sense the faintest movements of the trees around him. But the beast inside clawed at him relentlessly, demanding release.
Branches tore at his skin, but he barely felt the scratches. His mind, human yet trapped inside a monster's body, screamed for control. Don't let it take you!
Suddenly, he froze. The forest shifted, or was it his perception? Shadows moved unnaturally, forming shapes that weren't quite human or animal. Eyes glinted in the darkness, watching him. A low, guttural growl answered his own, as if the forest itself was alive. A flash of memory hit him, stories from his childhood, whispers about the curse, the villagers' warnings. They spoke of ancestors who tried to resist the moon's power and failed. Panic surged through him. The night was alive, and the forest had become both cage and predator. Through the twisted trees, a figure emerged, not human, not fully beast. It moved with fluid grace, muscles rippling under matted fur, fangs gleaming. Another werewolf. Elias's heart pounded in recognition. He was not alone. The creature snarled, circling him. Elias's instinct screamed. Fight! His human mind begged, flee. A battle of wills began as two cursed beings sized each other up. The forest echoed with their roars and growls, broken twigs marking the dance of predators. Time seemed to stretch. Elias struck, then dodged, then paused, horrified at his own strength. The rival wolf lunged, claws grazing his side. Pain seared through him, but it was nothing compared to the beast's hunger for dominance. In that moment he realized the curse wasn't just personal, it was ancient, a chain linking all cursed souls. The full moon empowered him, but also bound him to this cycle of violence. Elias broke away from the confrontation, retreating to a high ridge overlooking the village. The scent of humans mixed with fear, salt and smoke drifted to him on the night wind. He could see lights flickering in windows, hear distant shouts, villagers reacting to the chaos that the cursed night inevitably brought. He needed a plan. The beast craved blood and dominance, but he remembered the river reflection, the part of him still human. Hunting for survival, finding shelter, and avoiding detection became his focus. Crouching behind a fallen tree, he studied the moon. It was high now, almost at its peak, flooding the forest with silver light. Every instinct screamed to run, hunt, and destroy, but Elias forced himself to think, to resist. Hours passed as he stalked through underbrush, finding small animals for sustenance, hiding from patrols and learning the rhythm of his new senses. The night stretched endlessly, the beast in him growing stronger, hungrier, more dangerous, yet he remained painfully aware of the human trapped inside. Elias moved cautiously through the dense forest, shadows of trees stretching like skeletal hands. The village behind him was alive with activity, torches flickering, dogs barking, and the distant shouts of men searching for the creature they knew lurked nearby. He paused at a ridge and looked down. Villagers had formed a rough perimeter, armed with pitchforks, axes, and torches. Among them, a figure stood apart. A hunter, calm and calculating, watching the forest with a predatory focus. Elias's human mind recognized the danger, but the beast inside surged impatiently, urging him to attack. A gust of wind carried whispers through the trees, voices he couldn't fully identify. Were they human, ghostly, or something older watching from the shadows? The hairs on his back bristled, his fangs gleaming as the moonlight struck him. The forest seemed to breathe with him, alive and sentient, guiding him deeper into the unknown. The hunter finally entered the forest, following Elias's tracks with an unnatural precision. He moved silently, calculating each step. Elias sensed him before he saw him. The beast roared, urging confrontation, but Elias restrained it just enough to maintain control. The two circled each other in a clearing, tense as coiled springs.
Elias, you don't have to give in to it.
Elias snarled, claws scraping the earth, struggling against the rage within. The hunter lunged, swinging a silver-tipped spear. Instinctively, Elias dodged with superhuman speed, realizing his enhanced senses gave him the advantage, but also left him vulnerable to the human part of himself, still aware of morality. The fight was brutal but cautious. Elias didn't want to kill the hunter, yet every nerve screamed to dominate, to give in to the beast. With a powerful leap, he vanished into the shadows, leaving only torn leaves and disturbed earth behind. Deeper in the forest, Elias stumbled upon ruins hidden beneath the overgrowth, ancient stone walls etched with cryptic symbols. His reflection in a nearby pond revealed not just fangs and glowing eyes, but something older, a lineage of cursed souls staring back at him. He found old journals, soaked and decayed, chronicling villagers who had attempted to break the curse across centuries. Rituals, offerings and battles were recorded, all ending in failure. The curse was relentless, tied to the cycles of the moon, feeding on human fear and primal hunger. The forest grew restless around him. Shadows moved independently, whispering secrets of the night. Elias realized the curse was not just a human malady. It was alive, an ancient force embedded in the land itself. Every rustle, every glowing eye seemed to test him, measuring his will, his control, his worthiness to survive. The moon climbed to its zenith, casting silver light that made the forest seem both beautiful and terrifying. Elias was fully transformed now, every muscle and sinew honed to perfection, claws ripping through underbrush, eyes blazing like molten amber. He sensed movement ahead, a rival werewolf, larger and more vicious than him, emerging from the shadows. Its roar shook the trees, echoing across the valley. The predator stared him down, and the night became a battleground of primal power. Elias lunged first, claws slicing through air. The rival countered, jaws snapping dangerously close. The fight was brutal, a blur of fur, teeth and blood. Each strike carried centuries of curse-driven rage, each dodge a desperate attempt to retain his humanity. As the battle raged, the forest itself seemed alive. Branches twisted, shadows lunged, and glowing eyes peeked from every corner. Villagers' torches flickered in the distance, and their shouts grew closer. The hunter from earlier arrived, watching carefully, trying to gauge Elias's strength without being attacked. Elias realized that fighting the rival alone would destroy him, or worse, draw the attention of the humans and other creatures. He used the terrain to his advantage, leaping over fallen logs, circling through fog, and finally forcing the rival into a deep ravine. The beast's roar echoed one last time before silence fell. Breathing heavily, Elias felt the strain. The beast inside still roared, hungering for blood, but fragments of his human mind flickered, memories of family, village, and morality grounding him. He understood now, survival meant mastering both sides, not surrendering entirely to the curse. As the first hints of dawn streaked the horizon, Elias's form began to shift back to human. Fur receded, fangs shortened, and eyes returned to normal, though still tinged with amber in the morning light. His body was battered, limbs aching, but he had survived the night. From the edge of the forest, villagers emerged cautiously. Some stared in fear, some in awe.
The hunter approached, lowering his weapon. You lived and controlled it somehow.
Elias nodded, exhausted but alive, knowing the battle was far from over. He looked up at the fading moon, realizing the curse was eternal. Every full moon would bring the beast back, stronger, hungrier, more cunning, and yet he had learned something vital. He could fight it, survive it, and perhaps one day find a way to end it. The forest settled into silence, shadows retreating with the sunlight. Elias, human yet changed forever, limped toward the village, carrying the weight of the curse, but also the knowledge that he had survived the night. The moon's curse would rise again, but so would he.